Welcome to Liquid Courage, candid conversations that give you an inside look into Canada's entertainment industry. I'm your host, Amanda Pereira. Every episode, I sit down with ridiculously talented folks from right here in Canada. And with some liquid courage, I ask the questions we're all dying to know. From career wins to total faceplants, hilarious missteps to surprising breakthroughs, and behind-the-scenes tips you can actually use. These chats remind us we're all just figuring it out. So why not do it together? Today, I sit down with Julie Nolke, and we sip on some spicy margarita mocktails together. Julie is an award-winning actor, writer, and content creator. If you spend any time at all online, I'm confident you'd recognize Julie. She's the creator of her self-titled YouTube channel, where nearly 1 million subscribers tune in for her original comedy sketches, including her viral series Explaining the Pandemic to My Past Self, which has racked up over 65 million views. You may also recognize her from her performances in broadcast TV, including shows like Run the Burbs, Working Moms, Murdoch Mysteries, or What We Do in the Shadows, or her lead role in the rom-com The Wedding Rule. Julie's work has earned her numerous awards and nominations, including 2 Streamy Awards nominations, 3 Webby Awards, and in both 2019 and 2023, she was awarded Excellence in Writing at Toronto's prestigious Buffer Festival for her short films Are We Still Feminists and Miscarry. Julie has managed to truly carve out a space for herself and build an entirely self-sustainable network generating consistent original content. Most recently, she took her original one-woman sketch show, Dying on the Outside, on tour to sold-out audiences across Western Canada. I find Julie's career journey just incredibly impressive and inspiring. She is a powerhouse storyteller, making audiences laugh and think everywhere she goes. If during this conversation you hear something referenced, like a TV show or a podcast that we say is amazing and you want to check it out, don't worry, I got you covered. Check the episode description and I've linked everything there for you. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Again, hi. I know I said this when we were getting set up, but I am so excited to talk to you today. I took some notes, and even in reviewing my notes, I was like, oh my God, I'm so fucking I just feel very grateful that you're here today because we don't know each other at all. No context. We've never met.
No.
You could be like, who is this random person? So
Which is interesting because it's a very small industry.
And we have a lot of, there's a lot of crossover. Everybody in pulp comedy or a lot of people on your videos, I'm like, oh yeah. So I know it's strange sometimes. It can be such a small community and then also, I guess, a big community too.
Yeah, but it was destined to happen.
Oh,
our web was
that.
destined to connect at some point.
Destined. Little black widows. I don't know. They're badass, but also maybe mean, but black widow spiders. I actually don't know. I know nothing about them enough to make a reference. Okay, so you picked a sparsy. I'm mixing the 2 words together. Just like I did with my drink. A spicy margarita mocktail.
Yes.
Which is I've never had a spicy marg. It's very Real Housewives of You, which
really?
I love.
Oh,
yeah, I've never had
margs
one.
are the drink of the summer.
Oh, I've never made
past
one.
The regular slushy margarita. I'm too old in my life. I need a little kick in the tush.
Yeah. I don't know how. So I haven't even tried mine yet because I wanted to wait till I was on with you. I don't know how spicy it is. How spicy do you like your spicy margs?
I guess it depends. If I'm eating with it, I can handle a lot of spice. If I'm not eating and it's my sipping drink, maybe a little bit less. I don't want to be dying from heat.
I know. That's
but
the
I
fear
kept mine
today,
pretty mild today for the sake of saliva.
Oh,
because I didn't want to just be drooling on your podcast.
I didn't even think of saliva, Julie. Well, hopefully there's not too much saliva. Okay, I think mine looks kind of disgusting, to be honest. Can you see it? I also filled it.
Hold it up higher.
So I filled it so full.
Oh my God, it's really cute.
Look
at this.
I didn't do a rim. You did a rim, Julie. And you have I have this ugly wedge and you have a beautiful wheel. Oh my God.
Thank you. I am very proud of this. I think it's very cute.
Is that tahini on your rim?
I did tahini, yeah.
Oh, Julie. Okay, cheers. I'm gonna actually try it with you. Cheers.
Yeah,
okay.
Cheers.
I'm gonna avoid the jalapeno part from my mouth.
Ooh.
Oh, it's good.
It's got a kick.
It does. It has a kick. It has the lime kick and the jalapeno kick.
Wow.
Oh, but I kind of love it. Yeah.
You know what else I added was sugar. I got a little bit of sweetness.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
I put a little, I Googled a recipe because I didn't even know. I put in a little maple syrup. I didn't have agave, which is what it said. And it's good. And some salt. It's good. Oh, I don't know why I was so afraid of it. Literally looks like my neck just got red. Like I think I got scared, but it's good, neck. You're fine. It's wonderful. It's not even that spicy. Oh my gosh.
And is yours a mocktail as well?
Yes, mine's also a mocktail.
Okay.
Yes.
Couple of virgin ladies.
And which I want to ask you about later. It's so exciting. Mocktail. I mean, people can always drink mocktails every day. But you're drinking a mocktail today because you're pregnant.
I am.
Like, oh my God, what a
immaculate conception.
Second time immaculate conception.
Yeah,
Loving
know,
this.
isn't that crazy?
You are a special gal, Julie, being chosen. Okay, so let's dive in. Okay, so starting out, and this I always feel a little bit creepy when I'm doing this because I'm like, I did my research, but I'm not stalking you. But also, please correct me if anything is like, no, that's actually incorrect. But starting out, you had said that like you thought that your path was going to be you graduate theater school, you get an agent, you book little roles, you book big roles, and then you become famous. Like that's what you do. I thought the same thing. And then in reality, there was a stretch there like after theater school where you were auditioning for 7 years and didn't book anything. You got dropped by like multiple agents because we don't know each other. I want to say like I can completely relate to this. Like the long stretches of not booking and just feeling like I'm in a void. So for my own self, I want to know like how did you navigate that 7-year stretch of not booking anything? Like how did you do that?
You know what? I don't know. I think maybe blind ego. But it's really interesting you bring that up because I kind of forgot about that time in my life because I would say I'm in that period again.
Really?
Yeah, I definitely, and we can dive into that. I definitely feel like I'm in a lull in my career and things have absolutely plateaued. And it is like a kick to the self-esteem for sure. I think back then, I had this kind of blind ego that I could do it. I also had this like youthful motivation that people just weren't getting me. You know, like I was auditioning all the time and I was taking acting classes and in my heart I knew I was good or I knew I had something to offer and I just like again this like blind faith in myself, but I was like I know casting's not getting me. Or they like they can't figure out where to put me, but it's not because I'm not good. Which who knows if that was the case. I mean, it helped me turn to YouTube, which is like where I built my business and my career, and where I got all of my practice and ultimately I do think like the amount of hours that I've worked on YouTube has assisted my acting. But it's interesting to be back in that place. And I think it's also a friendly reminder that this career is not linear. It's not, you don't, especially in Canada, you don't book a job that has 7 lines and then your next job has 10 lines. That's just not how this works. And it's kind of unfortunate, but I'm trying to give myself grace. I'm trying to be more open with that reality of my career because the more open I am, the more people I meet who are in the same place and we can kind of share that vulnerability of it's not how we are as actors. It's not our ability, our talent. It's not that we are too old for roles. It's just that there are lulls in this career and it's freaking heartbreaking, but
and I mean, seriously. But
sorry to start on such a downer note.
Oh my God, please, Julie. My first question was literally, how did you manage going 7 years without getting booked? Like, can you tell? I mean, to be like totally transparent too, this week I was on hold for a job that I like really, I think I like got ahead myself and got really like, let's just allow myself to imagine that I get it. And anyway, and point is, I just found out I didn't book it. And so I'm in those feels right now.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of jobs, if I really want it, I allow myself to imagine like, okay, I got the email. Part of it is like, I want to try and manifest that or like, I want to put that out in the universe for however much power that has. But it's also like, it's not often that people book roles. Like it's just the industry is crazy. There's a lot of competition. And so if I only let myself enjoy the feeling of booking a role when I book a role, that's not enough. So I'm just going to enjoy the feeling of it even if I don't. But it's hard. And it's especially hard when, like you're saying, it's not about how good you are. It's not about how much you have to offer. But that is really hard to remember when it can often feel like other people judge not only how good you are as an actor, but like how interesting you are as a person based on like how many IMDb credits you have. You know, it's like,
Yes.
oh, you're an actor. What would I have seen you in? Or
Yeah.
what are you working on right now? So that blind ego that you say you had when you were starting out,
Mhm.
how much of that is like still here for you now, like in this lull that you're feeling?
Well, it's yeah, just to go back to what you said
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the, like, letting yourself get carried away with booking
yeah,
something and the joy, we deserve that. We
yeah.
this industry is so, like, the auditioning is so thankless that we deserve to let ourselves dream. I'm the same as you.
Mm,
And I always tell myself, like, don't put too much into auditions, like,
yeah.
just, like, let them go out to the universe, but, um, it would be a very joyless career if I did
Mhm.
that. We have to be able to imagine and dream, and we deserve that. Just
Mhm.
I totally
Yeah.
agree with that. Um, yeah, I think that blind ego is still there. I think it's kind of converted into I no longer need validation from the industry.
Mm,
I think
mm.
initially it started with us, like, you guys aren't getting me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna create stuff on YouTube and you're gonna see what I can do. That's kind of, I mean, I was subconscious, of course, because at no point did I say that out loud. But now, now that I have built a business on YouTube, and content creation and writing and doing lots of other projects, like many of us do, we wear so many different hats. Now I feel like I can comfortably say I don't need the industry's validation, and that's where I
Mhm.
get my strength to live through these lulls and go, okay, the industry doesn't want me right now,
Mm.
but that's okay because I can go away and make my own thing, and an audience will find me. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, but I mean, yeah, it's hard because I stand here and I'm like, I don't need the industry's validation, but boy, would I like it.
I
You
know,
know?
I know. And I think we are around the same age, and, like, so growing up, I imagine it would be for you too that, like, the North Star is, like, traditional TV and film. Like,
Sure.
when I was growing up, I knew I wanted to act really young, and so there was no YouTube at that time. There was
Mhm.
no, like, Netflix. There's no streaming services. Like, if you wanna be an actor, you are on TV and
Mhm.
film, or on stage in theater. And so even though now it's like there's not as many like, "Oh, the dream is I'm gonna realistically be in a movie that's gonna premiere in movie theaters." Like, that kind of almost doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But it's hard to, like, update your dreams. Like, you are not only making, like, a full not only do you have a full career in creating content online, but, like, you and your husband are able to, like, fully support
Mhm.
your immaculate conception children, you know what I mean? Like, your
Yeah.
full family via
Yeah.
creating content online, and yet I can totally imagine and, like, kind of relate to when you've spoken about, like, sometimes it's still like, "Oh, but I would really love the TV film industry to still love me."
Yeah.
When it's wild because many people can't make a living acting on TV and film,
It's
like
a
you've been able to.
weird mind fuck, and
Yeah.
yeah, it is. I think also, just the parallel to that is that I think that in Canada, content creators aren't seen with the same value as they are in the States. I think there's
Mm.
like an awareness in the States that, oh, those people have leverage, they are a currency, they are of value. Whereas here, it's still, like I just auditioned for a role that I really wanted,
Mm.
that I had probably put a little too much investment into, or like
Mm.
emotional investment, and I didn't book it because, I wasn't enough of a star, was kind of the feedback I was given, or
Mm.
I wasn't enough of a name.
Mm.
What I think is interesting about that, and again, the actor that got cast, totally appropriate, right choice for the show. I'm not questioning casting whatsoever. But what I think is interesting about that feedback is that the person that got cast has no social media involvement
Mm.
whatsoever. And I think that our awareness here in Canada of what is a name, what is a person that can, move the needle in terms of eyeballs, like, we're still dealing with kind of an old guard
Mm.
that believes that kind of our Northern Hollywood system is one way, when
Mhm.
actually I think if you opened the door to, I hate the word influencers, but maybe like larger content creators,
Mhm.
um, you get a whole lot more young Canadians watching broadcast television.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, there's this stigma, I guess, around, or this idea that, like, this is in my own head too, is like thinking, oh, well, if you're creating online, it's like, oh, well, the people that the power holders, I guess, in the
Mhm.
industry, in the TV and film industry, aren't taking you, and yet YouTube, you can put something up yourself. And so somehow it's like seen as less than, but also
Yes.
how
Yes.
many people, like, it is, how many people are actually creating content on YouTube? Yes, there's a lot, but how many people like want to be an actor versus are making things happen like you are and saying, "Okay, well, I'm not going to be seen this traditional way. I'm going to make you see me. I'm going to create a bunch of stuff over here then because
Yeah.
first of all, I just love doing it and I need an avenue for it. And then also I can have a way of showing my what I can do." And yet it's still seen as less, not less than in a way, but just
No,
that
I
it's
understand what you're saying.
perceived. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think that's wild because I think it's really undermining the amount of work and dedication that is going into that you don't necessarily aren't demonstrating in the other way.
I appreciate you saying that, because yeah, when I tell people what I do, I run a production company.
Mm.
And we have several staff members, and we run like a very low budget television show that is viewed by oftentimes more people than would watch a
Yeah.
CBC show, let's say, for example, in terms of the ratings. But I really don't fault the gatekeepers. Like, I don't want to point fingers and be like, they're responsible for why I'm not getting respect,
Mhm.
because I think what it comes down to is that the people who do hold the power, the people that are doing the gatekeeping, aren't avid YouTube watchers.
Mm.
And I
Mhm.
think that's okay. I do think there will be a generational shift. I think that's bound to happen. I think kind of our generation is like, when I first started on YouTube, it was not a career. It
Mm. Mm.
certainly wasn't a lucrative one. And in the last 12 years of being on YouTube, it has converted. So in a very,
Mhm.
very short span of time, the industry has drastically shifted.
Mhm.
And that is not the same for traditional broadcast. And
Mhm.
I think that there eventually will be a turnover, and we're seeing that a little bit more with shows like Late Bloomer
Mhm.
and honestly, even Shoresy and Letterkenny. All this amazing Canadian talent that was found online. I think people's eyes are starting to open to that. But again, like, the people at the top, I don't think are avid YouTube
Mm.
watchers. I don't think they follow creators. I don't think they have that same understanding of the fandom that
Mhm.
exists. And so I can't really fault them for that, because as much as I want to stand on a soapbox and be like, you know, us YouTubers, our content creators, we command millions of people. Like, believe in me, let me make a show. It's like, well, that's not their experience. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know. I
Absolutely.
I try to give them a bit of the benefit of the doubt. There's also a part of me that's like, that's their job. Like, you guys should be watching
Totally.
YouTube.
Yes,
But
and it's like it's a whole, I think it's a whole system, you know? It's
mm,
the people who can offer those opportunities, but I think it's also people who are, viewers, like, who aren't even in the industry, who are viewers and being like, "Oh, no, she's a TikTok actor." And I'm like,
sure.
Take a one Google her once, and
Hmm.
you will see, like, she was acting for a decade before, then she
Yeah.
started YouTube, she's writing her own, you know?
Hmm.
So, I think it's like a system shift, which just I to your point, I think it just takes longer for a whole, like, working machine to be able to shift over versus something like YouTube where it can be so much more in the user's hands, we can see a bit more progress, like, a bit quicker in
Yeah.
that area, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I wanna talk about how you wear so many hats.
Oh.
People might already know this, but
Mhm.
in case they don't, you write
Mhm.
everything on your channel. You act in everything. You are all the characters. Sometimes you do have other actors on, I should
Yes.
say, but, like,
Sometimes. Yeah.
primarily it is, like, you playing all the roles, and I'm curious, like, as a writer, I can imagine you have things that you wanna say and things that you wanna share and points of view you wanna share. As an actor, I can imagine you have characters you wanna play, accents you wanna try out, and then
Hmm.
as a producer of the channel, running production company, like, you also want to be making money for this entire family that you're supporting and keep the views coming in. And so how do you balance like the very valid interests of all these different hats that you're wearing and like not let it just become for everybody else?
It's I mean, it's challenging. I will say I'm lucky in that, the producer part of me can usually take a bit of a back seat, and I'm
Mm,
very, like, thankful and blessed to say that because, uh, YouTube is a wonderful career and has lots of different, pillars of income and ways you can make money, and so that kind of takes care of itself, and it's not an easy business, and it's not
mm,
easy to make money in, but if you honor your own creative vision and your own and good acting and good videos, the reward is money.
mm,
And so, I mean, not always, it's not always that, but that has been my experience is that if I honor, some original concepts with original characters, usually, the production overhead budgetary stuff kind of
mm,
figures itself out.
mm,
Um, which I'm very thankful for because if we were in a place where I was like, this video has to hit, otherwise we're
mhm,
not going to pay our mortgage, uh, I don't think I would be able to do this
mhm,
career. So I'm very thankful for that. In terms of like video creation and acting versus writing, YouTube is this hamster wheel of
mm,
every week coming out with content, and in order to avoid any sort of burnout or writer's block, I'll usually give myself some constraints on a
mm.
video. Excuse me, the like spiciness is
No,
coming
please.
up.
Earlier, literally, I was like, it looks like I'm crying at what she's saying because I had such a spicy sip and my eyes were like watering so
God,
much.
the worst choice of a cocktail.
I know, truly. If I do actually start crying, I will let you know because
Okay,
otherwise, please assume that my teary eyes are from the jalapeno.
it's from
But it's
jalapeno. Okay.
also really good. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
Anyway,
me
so yeah,
too.
I'm really enjoying it.
Um, anyway, yeah, so, some video inspiration will come from, a topic I've just experienced, something relatable,
Mhm.
or sometimes I'll get a sense that I'm getting a bit of writer's block, and I'll go,
Mm.
"Okay, let's let the actor Julie step in here, and let's
Oh,
just create a character. Let's focus on
yeah.
doing some improv, creating a character, and building a video that way."
Mm.
Um, and I've gotten fairly good at trying to mitigate the writer's block and
Mhm.
maintain that kind of originality. Not every video hits. Not every video does very well or is what people wanted. But I'm that's also not the goal. The goal has never
Yeah.
been to get lots of views. The goal is how do I keep this creative vision and this creative machine alive
Mhm.
in order to keep longevity in this career on this platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure it's hard sometimes. I mean, even though you've been doing it for so long, I would imagine that it's still surprising sometimes like which videos hit and which
Yeah.
videos don't. Like, what is your most in your opinion, like your most underrated sketch or character? Like one that you thought like this deserves way more attention than it got. Like I love this and it's not
Oh
hitting.
gosh. I would have to look back at the library. Um, it's always videos that I put a little too much heart into that never that
Oh,
never end up,
man.
but it's just not what the zeitgeist wanted, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'd have to think about that.
Are there ones that, like, really hit that you're like, "Oh, I totally phone" like,
Yes.
I had to
That
phone it
more than
in.
anything, yeah.
Yeah, really, eh? That part is so interesting to me just on, like, the study of humans side, you
I
know?
know.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting, okay, I have a video that didn't hit. It's a very
Yeah.
recent one,
Yeah.
and it was about the, housing crisis,
The
which
tent
at
one? I loved the tent
yeah,
one.
as I say that out loud, I'm like, "Yeah, that's not a topic I want a comedy video on." So
Oh
maybe
my
I
god,
get
I
it.
thought it was so good.
Thank you, thank you. I had actually written it as a writing sample when I applied to be a writer on 22 Minutes, which I
Mm,
didn't
mm,
get, but that's
mm.
okay. Um, but I had written a version of that video, um, yeah, and it was, like, a little bit longer, but the whole concept was, like, the government was brainstorming, how do we get housing And they were like, the cheapest ways is to get more tent cities. And so I thought it was really clever. And then of course, when we filmed it, it didn't do very well. So I'm like shocked because I loved that video concept.
I do too.
But and then in terms of one that did really well, there was one that was just called, I think it was called When the Government Gives You Stuff.
Okay.
Right? It's like, what is that even about? And the whole concept was that I kept getting mail from CRA. And in the mail, it was like, please keep this for your records. And I was like,
no.
what the fuck are records? I don't have records. What?
Yeah.
Where am I supposed to, in a filing cabinet? Who owns that?
Oh my God, Julie, can I tell you that? Sorry, my eyes are watering so much for this jalapeno. I'm like wild, but I'm enjoying it. I am not in pain. Just my eyes are like, why are you doing this for the first time? I have so many emails that I have kept marked unread in my inbox that are like, CRA for your records. And then I literally have a filing cabinet that someone gave me. They were moving from Toronto to LA, so they had to get rid of everything. They gave me a little filing cabinet, and I have a little folder that's just like all the fucking mail I've got that I'm afraid to throw it out, but I have no use for it. So listen, you're speaking to an audience, okay? There's an audience for that. Yeah.
So maybe that one was a little more relatable, and maybe the people who live in tents aren't watching YouTube. I probably should have thought about that a little bit better. But
the people who believe people shouldn't have to live in tents are on YouTube. Like I loved it, and I like showed my partner. I was like, look how fucking funny she. That anyway. There's a lot of that. Look at this video. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm a fan of both of those concepts. I love it.
Thank you. But I was like two kind of like government themed videos. One that did really well. I will say the When Government Gives You Stuff one popped off on the CRA Reddit. And I have a friend of mine who works in Ottawa.
Great. Yeah.
And she was like, your video is being shared left, right, and center. And I was like, okay, so you guys know. So you know that you give a shit that we didn't want.
No. Yeah. Maybe we need to send like the tent video to like Mountain Equipment Co-op or something. Right. Like maybe we got to like send it in a subreddit. Like it just hasn't hit the right subreddit yet. It'll have its time. It just needs a moment, you know? It'll have its moment in a moment. Yeah. Well, I know one of the videos that you had said you were like, you didn't really think was much, or you didn't know if it was going to be great, was your now like infamous pandemic series.
Yes.
So explaining the pandemic to my past self, which is now a 7-part sketch series. And you posted the first one in April 2020, and it went, you know this, I'm just saying this for listeners and viewers. It's weird because I'm looking you in the eye saying this. Posted it in April 2020, the first part, and it went like completely viral. And now I could be off in this number, but I believe now the 7-part series collectively has like just over 65 million views.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen it in a while, but
like
wild.
It's a lot. And just for context for listeners, like you and I talked about traditional TV numbers earlier, and I looked up some, like just for context. So the finale episode of the full series of Game of Thrones had 19.3 million, and the final episode of Friends was 52.5 million. That's
a good show.
YouTube, it was so good. The last one. But your like again, what people are like YouTube series, your sketch series had 65 million views on it. Like wild to me. And I guess I'm wondering, like, now that you have made a name for yourself, and not just because of this series, I want to be completely clear. Like, I know this timing seems a little off when I'm asking you this, but in having a name for yourself and having built that and like having some fame now, is it harder to just like relax with people at these industry events? You know, whereas before maybe it's like, oh, what are you up to? And oh God, I don't have any credits to mention to like give my perceived validity to this person. Now, when you're at these industry events, I don't know, is it hard to interact with people? Is it like, do you find yourself questioning whether they like want something from you or they're genuine or?
You know, I don't know. I think generally at industry events, I'm still explaining myself.
Really? Oh my God, that is so wild to me.
I appreciate you saying that, but I do. I mean, it depends what the event is. If it's a YouTube event, I feel like YouTube Canada and Google Canada have just like really put us on, like some of us creators put us on pedestals, made us feel like proper celebrities.
Mm.
But no, if I go to like an industry networking event that's like kind of more film and TV focused, I do still have to, kind of explain. I do still generally lead in with like my Run the Burbs credits. Because that gives a little more of like, why is she here?
Mm.
Um, yeah, I
Which
don't
is
know.
wild. Sorry,
I
that's
know.
wild to me. Why are you here? Like, come on. You've
It's
created basically your own network. Like, you've created an entire network online. Even you being like, oh, I'd have to look back in my library. And I thought in my head, yeah, that's totally valid because there are so many sketches in there. Like,
I
true,
know.
full sketches. And you've written short films. Like, you've won
Yeah.
awards. Like, there is so much. Anyway, not that we should like measure ourselves by certain things, but by the things that are measurable in this industry. Like you have accomplished all those things. That's
Yeah,
wild to me.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. You know what? Let's do this every week. Let's do this where you build me up and I build you up.
Oh, well, I would love that.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I
yeah.
don't know. I'm maybe I'm not giving the industry credit enough. I've certainly had some people open doors for me because of my online following, but I will say I've never or not yet been in the position where I feel like someone's trying to schmooze with me just to get something. That doesn't because I don't really have much to offer them unless I'm like, please cast me in your show. That's what I want.
But I bet you there'd be a lot of people who'd be like, oh, please cast me in your show,
Oh,
Or actually, the reason that I thought of this was because I remember I was at a TIFF event. I think it was like 2023. And I was at a TIFF event with a friend of mine. And I remember you came in and there was like a little step and repeat, like red carpet area for people to take photos at the event. And I remember my friend who has the same agent as you. We were talking with her agent, and her agent your agent had to leave and go see you. And my friend was like, "Oh yeah, because Julie's here and the photographers want to take photos." And I remember looking over and I was like, "Oh, that's so fucking great I knew who you was. I thought you were awesome." And I was like, "Oh, that's so awesome." And I just remember there was like people taking photos of you and then you came off the red carpet and then people wanted to talk to you. This is my perception of it. Of
okay.
course,
Oh, I
too, right?
love
You
this.
could be like,
Yeah.
I was alone in a corner the whole night.
I'm like, oh my God, did I look like a celebrity?
You did, but in like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, you did. And also you seemed lovely. Like in no negative context of celebrity. No, it was wonderful. And I was like, oh, this
Wow.
is so wonderful. She built this entire thing for herself. And people are like giving her very like attention that you deserve for it. And I thought, this is so nice. And then I also thought, that could also be really hard to navigate. Like, I also felt a little bit of, first of all, I was like, oh man, I want to build something, that feeling in you.
Yeah.
And then I also thought, oh, that's also a lot of attention and a lot of energy at her. Like, and so I just, yeah, ever since then, I wondered, like, oh, if I ever get to talk to her, I kind of just want to ask, like, how is that to navigate? Because I can talk to people, nobody wants anything from me because they perceive that I have nothing to offer, right? And so if they want to hang out with me, although I will say there was a number of years where I worked in casting, and when people knew that I worked in casting at events, that was really hard. Like, there was just little
That would
sensories
be
up.
so much worse. That would be so much worse.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
would
you think?
schmooze with
Oh, you
you.
think, eh? Okay. This is what would happen. I would be schmoozing with you, and you would be schmoozing
And
with
I
me,
would be
and
like-
neither one of us would think we have anything to offer each other.
No.
It'd be,
No,
yeah.
When I create for YouTube, you have to remember, like, it's me and my husband in our studio for the most part. Every now and then we get like a friend to come in and help. But honestly, it's because my friends are all like very busy and working and are incredible actors. So it's like hard to get them in. So it's usually just me. So whenever I get an opportunity to speak to people or meet people, I'm an extrovert in that way. So I get so much energy from it because the realities of my life are not glamorous. They are me by myself, not having a scene partner, working on some script I wrote that may or may not be garbage. And, and then my husband there, like, being on his phone or something. No, he's very supportive, but, no, so I do get a lot of energy. I will say I get really, uncomfortable. I don't know. Is that the right word? I'm doing a live show right now. I'm doing this like one woman sketch show, and I do a meet and greet at the end with some people that bought the meet and greet ticket. I find that interaction challenging, but also very rewarding, because you're meeting with people who know you better than you know them. And I find that I'm always like a little bit on my heels of like, well, let me get on the same page as you. Like, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you do for a living? Like, so that it doesn't feel like a really off kilter social interaction.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better at those. But when I first started with my show, that was something that I was like, oh my God, this is taking a lot of energy, because these people know me so well. And I got no idea who they are, and I don't know how to socialize with them. I don't know what to ask them.
Yeah.
But I've gotten much better at it.
Yeah. Can I ask, maybe this is a strange question, and you can tell me like, nah, let's move on. But I'm curious, like when you said that, I thought, oh, coming into this, to recording this episode together, I have fully, I'm as I should, like researched you for this. Is it weird coming into something like this, an interview or a conversation where you're like, oh, I know Amanda knows a ton about me. We have never met. I don't know anything about her. Is that like a strange dynamic here too? Is that weird to ask?
Maybe what if I said yes?
I would love it. I would be like, wow, thank you so much for, first of all, it would make me feel like, oh, wow, like you really feel comfortable enough to be like, yeah, it's true.
No, I don't feel weird at all. I mean, I get to talk about my favorite subject, which is me.
Yeah, I love
but
that.
also like I do my fair share of research. I know about your podcast.
Oh, you
know,
do?
I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks,
of course.
Julie.
So, but I do
lovely.
think like, I know you're an artist. I know you're an actor, an improviser. I know you're in comedy. There's already so much that we have in common that this already feels it feels very peer to peer.
Right. That's so fair. That's fair. And these are audience members coming. That's so fair. I think about that sometimes in interviews where I'm like, it must be so strange coming in and being like, oh God, you've researched me, and like, what do you know about me, and what are you gonna ask, or whatever.
Yeah, what did you look up?
No, please. I mean, all the things I looked up, I was like, oh, I want to talk to her even more. It's amazing. With all of this, like with an original series that rivals Game of Thrones and Friends, like so wild. Can any of that like success or validation, like are you able to soak that in and like really separate it? Like does the validation and the success ever land? Or is it just a forever like goalpost that just moves and you never get to feel the success of it, you know?
I think it's our job to celebrate our wins. And I think it's hard. I think it's hard to acknowledge that I made it to a goal. We achieved something. So yes and no. Goalposts are always moving. And if it were probably just me and my very unhealthy workaholic self, I would keep moving forward. But I've actually learned to be a little bit better about celebrating the wins.
Yeah.
And that's helpful too, because my husband's in it with me. So I'm trying to remember what we did. When we hit 1 million subscribers, we held a big party for ourselves. I would never normally do that, but I was like, no, this is huge. This is a big deal. Not a lot of Canadian creators get to this point.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold a party. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to celebrate the wins, but it can certainly be difficult, and it also to be like very vulnerable for a hot second. There's a really deep-seated fear that whenever you make a video that does really well, that it's the last good thing you're ever going to make. And I do feel that way a little bit about the pandemic series, which was, it's like it's a little voice in the back of your head going, that was it, Julie. That was the best thing that you're ever going to make, and everything is downhill from here. And so trying to mute that voice a little bit and keep creating. And as I experience new things in my life, letting that inform my creativity rather than trying to go back to what worked, 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, and I think like celebrating, or I'd imagine like celebrating wins or trying to get in a habit of that would only help aid that fear, because you're like, no, but wait, look at all of these wins, especially if we're gonna like air quotes, like, celebrate the losses. If we're gonna feel the heartbreak, like, we should
Yes.
at
Oh,
least also celebrate the other things, or neither. Like, it's gotta be an or
that's
then
so
we shouldn't
poetic,
feel
though.
heartbreak too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not fair. How cruel if we're gonna be like, "Okay, I'm gonna allow myself to feel heartbroken," or not even allow, I don't know if it's in my control. I'm gonna feel heartbroken whenever I lose something, but then when I get something, I'm not gonna feel amazing. And
Yeah.
it is hard because there is such a culture of like, what's next? Even
Mhm.
in so many interviews, and I don't blame anybody for this, but like so many interviews I listened to of you, it's just the natural end question of like, okay, so what's next? It's like, I
Yes.
don't know. The reason that you wanted to
Yeah.
interview me is pretty fucking great. Like, let's talk about the thing that got me here first. Like,
Right, right.
so and I can imagine, I mean, even me sitting here being like, around 65 million and blah, blah, it's a
Mhm.
daunting thing. And it's a
Mhm.
bummer that it's the reality that, like, when good things come, they're followed by fear. And I can, like,
Yeah,
totally understand
yeah.
that.
And
I can,
but
yeah.
that's also the beast of this, online industry that
Mm,
I would say a traditional actor doesn't have to deal with, is this impending doom of
mm,
irrelevance of,
mm.
when is my time up,
Ugh.
on this platform. Now, I will say, I feel a lot more optimistic on the platform than I maybe did previously,
Mm,
because we're seeing we're seeing the people that grew up with YouTube
mm.
stay loyal to YouTube. And so creators are getting older, audience members are getting older, and YouTube actually has more viewers now across the board than any other streaming service.
Wow.
It is where people are streaming content. And so it's the place to be. It's a place to make content. Anybody listening, if you have ideas and
Mhm,
there's not much stopping you other than yourself, just make it and put it online,
mhm.
because that's where the eyeballs are. And I mean, I'm still in the trenches trying to pitch TV shows, but I'm trying to keep my commitment to those pretty minimal,
Mm,
because
mm,
the reality is that people are watching YouTube. So let's
mm.
just make for YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, and let's see it as, like, just as valid of a distribution channel as,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
another on-screen distribution pathway, like,
it sure
absolutely.
is.
Yeah, and, well, speaking of traditional TV, so your
Mhm.
success on YouTube, got you noticed by the Run the Burbs team to come
Mhm.
in and help essentially create the new show,
Mhm.
Run the Burbs, which is on CBC. So I guess, like, speaking of success, like, how did that feel? And I guess, did you feel any pressure, like, living up to whatever they maybe saw in you? Or, yeah, were you like, "Hell yeah, finally, some recognition. Like, yeah, I'll come in and help create this. Great. Let's do it."
Well, yeah, it was really interesting because I came into that show on the ground floor. So, it only had like a small amount of development money when I got invited to be in the writers' room. And so there was it was like how many different projects do we all work on where it's
Mm.
like this might go, this might not go. And
Mhm.
you're like, okay, I'll give you my the week of my summer, and
Yeah.
we'll do some writing, and then I'll forget about it.
Yeah.
And that's honestly what happened. It was a really cool team to work with. I remember, like in those early stages,
Mm.
really diverse range of kind of where people were coming from, what stories they were bringing, to develop the characters. But then I didn't hear anything for months.
Mm.
Um, and then finally, I think I got a call from Andrew Fung, or we didn't really know each other. We knew of each other.
Mm.
But he was like, "Yeah, it's a go. So we're writing the first season." And that was so it happened slow. It was kind of like a frog in boiling water. At no point
Mm.
was I like, "Oh yeah, I've earned this." It was just like, "Oh, I'm on this freight train that is moving forward, and it's going to become a real show. And oh my god, I'm going to audition for one of the characters." Okay.
Yeah.
Um I will say I did, like, secretly do everything in my power to make the Sam character that I ultimately ended up booking, I tried to make her as much like me as possible so that when I did the audition, I knew her better than anyone.
Right, 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 right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, well, and I read or heard that, like, when when you knew the audition was gonna come out, it was like you kinda needed to choose, am I gonna keep writing on the show, or,
Yes.
like, am I gonna audition? I can't really do both. And I thought that was an incredible leap of faith and, like, confident, like, faith in yourself of, like, "No, I'm gonna turn down the writing job, which is a for sure thing, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
but the thing that I want second, maybe, and go after the thing I want first that is not certain. I thought that was like an incredible
Yeah.
leap of faith for yourself.
I wish I could have done both because
Mm,
I think it would have been cool to be on both sides of things, but
yeah.
both Raki and I did that. So we both submitted our auditions, but we were still in the writers' room, which was crazy. So we submitted our auditions and then like jumped back on Zoom
Oh,
and like we knew like the showrunner had like
had like
just
seen
received
it?
them
Yeah.
or
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
seen them. And
Yeah.
we were in a breakout room with an amazing writer named Wendy Littner who just won a CSA this year. She's so phenomenal.
Oh,
Her writing
congratulations,
is
Wendy.
incredible. So it was me, Wendy, and Raki, and we were supposed to be like coming up with the storyline. And the whole time we were just like, "Oh my god, they're gonna see our audition." And Wendy was like,
Oh.
"It's okay, you guys. I'm sure it was great." And I was like,
Wendy's
"Raki."
like, guys, can we write? And you're like, hold on, no,
I
no,
know.
no, no. We can't.
No,
We can't. We need to
she was the
focus.
mom in the group. She was like, "And how are you?
Aw.
Are you okay? Are you feeling good about that take? Because I can tell them."
Wendy.
Yeah, Wendy is an absolute gem.
Oh,
But yeah, it was just like kind of a weirdo wild time,
yeah.
and then I actually do think we found out about casting before we had to make our final contract
Mm,
decisions
mm.
on if we were going to move forward in the writers' room. So I can't remember what the overlap was, but um, yeah, it definitely was a risk.
Mm.
But I also just really, really wanted that character.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I feel like this is sort of, I don't know, like a thread through so many articles or things that I read about you or like listen to you talk about is just this belief in yourself. Like, even earlier when you're saying, like, yeah, I just thought like maybe casting just didn't get me yet. Or like,
Hmm.
even embedded in all of that is this belief of like, no, I have something valid to say. You're just not quite getting it yet. It's not that I don't have something, you know? And I
Hmm.
just, where do you think that comes from? Like that just like true, it just sounds like true, solid, confident. I know you say blind
Yeah.
ego, but I'm like, I feel like it's a real solid confidence in yourself and your ability.
It is, and it's also the reality of I can't do anything else with
Mm.
my
Oh,
life.
I feel that. Yeah.
Um, there is nothing else I could have done that would make me nearly as happy or probably as sad as this
Mm.
career, but
Yeah.
there is really nothing else I can do that I wouldn't be super resentful of. And
Mm.
so I think I knew early on that I just had to make this work and I had to find out how to make this work.
Mhm.
And now it's more just of like, well, I'll just wait for my time in the spotlight again. And
Mm.
it's might not be now, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to create. I'm making a family right now, and that's like priority number one.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know how to do anything else.
Yeah.
So I have no skills.
Yeah. No, I mean, first of all, I don't think you have no skills. Um, you were gonna go to school for, like, engineering, weren't you?
Yes,
I mean,
that's right.
yes, you got skills.
I
Um,
did. I can't use any of that now. No, that was in early days. I was like, "Oh, maybe I should get a legit job." This was me early on. I don't think that way now.
yeah.
I was like, "Maybe I should apply for a legit job." And I was really good at maths and sciences, and so I did. I got a scholarship for engineering, which is wild.
Damn.
Jokes on them though, because I would have been terrible.
No, you
Um,
built an entire I think you would be amazing at it and just maybe not as happy. Like, maybe not as
that's
fulfilled,
the
but I
problem.
think you'd be
Yeah,
amazing at it.
that's the problem.
Yeah, and it's actually something for me that, like, hit when I realized, like, "Oh, no, this is just the thing that I should do or need to do." This
Yeah,
being the acting and creating is, like, there's a lot of areas where I really want other people's validation or I want them to tell me that I'm good enough, not that I don't also want that in acting. But there was something about being in acting classes or like if I was in a play, I recognized that it was an area where I really wanted feedback and because I wanted to be better and I didn't really care if I was great yet or not. I still wanted to
right.
be there. Like
Yeah.
cared about being better more than I cared about being good.
Mhm.
And that felt like this sort of silent little confidence in a way that I didn't really have in other areas of my life. It felt like so deeply for me versus somehow for other people. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that it felt like a guiding sort of feeling.
It's hard to put your finger on it. Yeah, because it's like I knew I always wanted to do something that made me happy and was also challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's and yeah, and like we're such extroverts. Like, we need it. I need to make something. I need to
Mm-hmm.
create, and I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I got no reason for why I have to do this career.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense. It never made sense. Like, I'm just lucky that my parents believed in me, but yeah, it's literally all I could do. It's all I could
Mm.
ever imagine myself doing is like
Mm-hmm.
creating, auditioning, asking people to hire me.
Hire me.
Please
Interviewing
hire
for
me.
jobs all the time. Please
I
hire me. Please
know.
hire me. I know. Well, okay. So I do want to talk about, you mentioned challenge, and you have bestowed upon yourself this new challenge of a live show. And I know you've been doing
Mhm.
it for a bit. I got to see it at Sketchfest. It was so fucking incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
It
you for
was,
coming.
oh, absolutely. Oh, I was like, I saw that and I'm like, oh my God, grabbed a friend. We got to go to this. You got to come see Julie. So your solo live show is called
Uh-huh.
Dying on the Outside. Do you mind
Mhm.
just telling people what the show is about? And then I would also love to know like how you decided on the name, because I love the
Oh,
name.
yeah.
It's fucking great.
Because the name is, like, kind of tied in, but also not really tied in at
I
all.
love it. Like it makes sense. It's not that I'm like this name for this
What?
show, what?
Yeah.
But I just love, yeah, I would love to hear how you landed on the name as well.
Yeah, so the show, it's a one woman, 1 hour sketch comedy show. I play all the different parts. Um it's I've taken it on tour. I performed it 4 times in Toronto, and then
Woo!
I did a Western Canada tour, and now we're about to go to Eastern Canada. And the impetus for it originally
Mhm.
was I was well, actually, I was feeling pretty down about my YouTube views, which is
Mm.
ridiculous. Um
And valid. Like it's new.
Thank
Listen,
you.
what, yes, of course it's all relative. It's like if you
Yeah,
hit a million, you're not going to be happy with then like 50,000. Like you,
right.
yeah, it's, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
It makes
So
total sense.
I was in a bit of a lull, and I
Mhm.
think I had a video do like 100,000 views, and that was dog shit for me at the time. And then I had to just check myself a little bit, and I was like, how many people is that? Like,
Mm.
do I know what that looks like? And I was like, I think I had always wanted to do a live show, and I had always wanted to like prove that I could get back into live theater, because that was, how I got my degree, and I started at
Mhm.
Fringe, and that's, I've done a lot of live theater, but years ago. And so I've always wanted to get back to it, but I was like, this is the perfect time, because
Mm.
I clearly am super disconnected from what these numbers mean to
Mm.
actual bums and seats. And so
Mm.
I started writing a show, and I brought on my director, Gwen Phillips, to help kind of like coach me. She's like sketch comedy royalty here in Toronto.
Mhm.
And she was my Sherpa up the sketch comedy mountain, and we built this show together, and we rehearsed it. And yeah, and then as we were kind of collecting, different scenes and sketches and what worked and what didn't work, we realized that we kept coming back to these like themes of death and mortality, and um, yeah, just like a fear of becoming irrelevant, and I don't know, all these kind of things all at once. And I think it was Gwen who sent me an email, and she was like, I think the name of the show is Dying on the Outside. I was
Oh,
like,
so good.
yes,
Yes, it
it has to
is.
be.
Yes, it is.
It
Yeah.
has to be.
Oh.
Um, so that's where the title came from, and that's kind of how the show originated. And yeah, it's been a avalanche since then.
Oh, it's incredible. And like for listeners, like these shows like sold out. Like they are, and it's such, if you can see this show, please go see this show. And I know
Oh,
you've been
thank you.
sharing like some characters, like some snippets online from the live show, but
Yeah.
truly the whole show in its totality, like from beginning to end, is such a treat to watch the flow of everything too.
Oh,
And
thank you.
it's so, so good. I'm curious because yeah, I know you did live theater and comedy
Hmm.
before and just hadn't done it in a while. So what was like the most surprising thing for you in doing this live show and like coming back and doing it?
Um, I guess so. Writing sketch for stage is very different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, you think about it, how many jokes in a YouTube video are funny because of the editing, is
Mhm.
because of the quick shot of like Julie talking to Julie talking to, um, so you can't really rest on those laurels. You have to have really good characters, um, with strong POVs, and then you have to have, your quick hit jokes, and then you have to have jokes that really pay off,
Mm.
that are a little more slow burning. And so that was kind of like an interesting um, master's degree in writing sketch for stage a little bit. Um, what I also love about writing that type of sketch, which is the opposite of YouTube, is
Mm.
that slow burn. Because once you have people in their seats,
Mm.
they're
They
stuck.
yeah,
They're stuck with
they can't,
you.
like, swipe to the next video. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
because with YouTube, we're always thinking about like, okay, this is the joke, these are the characters, but how do I make those first 5 seconds like really like
Mm.
really bring the hook in?
Mm.
Whereas with sketch, it's like, nah, they're there. So
Yeah.
let's give the slow burn. Let's make them work for those laughs. And
Yeah.
the laughs are so much more rewarding.
Mm.
Um, so that's been an interesting learning curve. And then the other thing that's been really, really cool is there's elements to my show that are improv based and a little more audience interaction, and it's
Mm.
different every time. And I was always petrified of those parts because
Oh,
I was like, oh,
interesting.
like, what are people going to say? Like, what if I don't know how to respond? Um, and I forget that that's improv. That's the joy of improv is just
Mm.
like, I got to be sharp. I got to be on my toes. They're going to say something different every night. And it's, if I can go in with the perspective of it's going to be a pleasant surprise,
Mhm.
then I'm going to have a great time. And that's absolutely been the case every time.
Mm. Oh, and it's so surprising to me that that would even cross your mind because you are just so well spoken. Like the way
Oh,
that you
thank you.
are able to articulate your thoughts or feelings, or even when I just anyway, listening to so many interviews of you, I'm like, God, she's able to articulate herself so well. You're also just able in this improv, this is why I thought about it, is like you're also just able to hear the question. And I'm like, God, did she just process that question and answer it in like a second and give such a thoughtful
Wow.
transparent response. Yeah, Julie, like, I think you're wi
Thank you.
and I remember
Am
yeah.
I your best guest ever?
Oh
Is that what you're
my
trying to say?
god, Julie, are you trying to get me canceled by all my guests? No, I'm just kidding. No, like, and because I remember hearing you be like, "Oh god, I love scripted so much more than improv because I
Mhm,
know what I'm
mhm.
gonna say. What if I say something stupid?" And I truly was listening with my AirPods wanting to be like, "Julie, are you kidding me right now?" Like, you're so anyway, so I'm so glad that you were able to find joy in it, and yeah, something I was even thinking because in the show, you mentioned, like, I'm completely paraphrasing, but you just mentioned that like you've been creating for online or on screen for a while and
Yeah.
now kind of into um on stage. And one of the thoughts I had was like, oh yeah, even in costuming, like even in when you're in a YouTube video, it's like you can have a complete transformation. You can wear exactly head to toe what that character would wear. And on stage, if you're doing that for every character, like you don't have time to change in between. It's only you. So even like just every aspect of it needs to be like rethought. And yeah, I
Yeah.
thought like, wow, what an incredible process for you to like challenge yourself with at this point when like you probably arguably didn't need to. Like you could have not created an entire live show and toured with it and put all of that on you, but I think it's incredible that you did and it's an amazing
Thank
show.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool when an audience comes to see theater, their expectation is different, and I think their imaginations are more vibrant and lively. They're
Mm,
willing to suspend their disbelief a little farther. Um, and so that's just that usually helps do a lot of the heavy lifting because I
mm,
don't have to have all those character pieces. Um, but something I've really really enjoyed about having
mm,
a live show is that um it's different every night. It's brand new material that people are never going to see on YouTube because it won't work on YouTube. It wasn't
mm,
written for
mm,
that. And so there's something really special and kind of like the antithesis of creating for online that you can do in live theater where it's like, no, we're just spending this night together,
mm.
one time only. We're in the same room. Who knows what's going to happen? And then at the end, there's going to be no record of it.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
something
yeah.
really beautiful about it. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you gotta be here. You gotta be here in person. And we have to share this time together.
Yeah.
Um, and that feels really cool when everything online or everything in our lives, frankly, feels very disposable.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of this like
Absolutely.
special celebration of like, I'm here, you're here, you bought the ticket, I put in the time. Let's have a
Mhm.
really fun time together, as opposed to YouTube where it's like they might watch, they might not watch.
Mhm.
um, it feels, yeah, it feels like I'm really, really glad I went through the experiment, the process of building this show
Mhm.
because it's taught me a lot about, the value of an audience member's time
Mhm.
and a room full of 300 people, I would argue, and I feel like you could probably attest to this
Mm.
too. The claps and the laughs that come from that are so much more rewarding and are
Mm.
so much more freeing and validating than a YouTube video with,
Mm.
hundreds of thousands of views.
Mhm.
It's they're different beasts, and I would much rather perform to 300 people live.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, something about that, like, in-person connection,
Yeah.
that you feel. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And what I think it's amazing, I kinda think that's one of those things that you sort of have to hit 100,000 views on YouTube and do a live show to know that. You know what I mean? Like, you
Right.
kinda need to do both of the things. Like, people who are like, "Yeah, winning the Oscar, it kinda felt empty," and I'm like, "No one can feel that unless they win the Oscar." Like, you kinda have to do the thing. But,
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah, I think it's wonderful. You talk about this, like, disposability, and I remember, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, but I remember you were sharing in an interview that, like, one thing you loved about creating online content is that you could just play and you could fail, and because,
Mhm.
like, the next day or the next hour, people are on to the next video.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was so interesting to me because there's something scary to me about posting online because it almost feels permanent. Like, oh, well, it's going to live online forever. Like that feeling.
Yeah.
Whereas live comedy, kind of to what you're saying, I feel like, oh, I could do an improv show and completely bomb and it existed there and now it's over, move on to the next. And so I think it's so incredible that you are able to highlight this, like, way to be playful and try things online and not feel the sort of like doom of permanence online, if that
Right.
makes any sense.
Mhm.
And yeah, I guess, like, I I would love to hear you just speak a bit more about that, because in my head I'm like, yeah, but it's so scary. It's always there. Like, someone could scroll down and just see that video and be like, oh, she sucks or she's horrible or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. Definitely when you compare YouTube to live performance, it feels a little more permanent. Although I will say the saturation, like, it's so highly saturated, the
Mm-mm.
online space full of content, that content is really forgettable and it does have an expiration date.
Mm.
Basically, specifically for comedy, like, stuff will go dormant after 7 days,
Mm.
So,
Wow.
um
And what is dormant, like, for people who
well, yeah,
yeah.
it's a video will live within the algorithm. Like, if I post a video today, it's a
Mhm.
Friday, a video will live within people's algorithms and their recommendation tabs for maybe like 4 or 5 days, maybe a little
Mm.
bit longer before it stops getting recommended.
Mm.
Now, granted, if it starts picking up traction, an algorithm will start serving it more, but generally it's about a 7-day mark.
Mm.
And so, yeah, the commitment to each and every video is pretty low. Now,
Mm.
I would say it's very disposable compared to broadcast television. I
Mm.
remember when we were writing for In the Burbs and they were trying to write kind of like a topical TikTok joke.
Mm.
And it's just there was no way to do that knowing that the video is gonna or the video, knowing that the episode is gonna come out in 6 months,
Mhm.
and the budget for these episodes was huge compared to what I spend on video. Like, my stuff is so low commitment. It's not low commitment, I put a lot of heart into it,
Mhm.
but it's very low cost, and it's, yeah, I guess I it's low commitment in that when I post it, my whole heart is not in it, whereas
Mhm.
when Run
Mhm.
the Burbs has 10 episodes, you post all 10 episodes, that's all you get, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I do feel like the disposability of YouTube, or of YouTube videos allows me to kind of be free and try stuff. And like I posted a video this week that is
Mm.
absolutely tanking, and it's like, who cares? Nobody
Yeah.
cares. Nobody's like, Julie, that's absolute garbage. If
Mm.
anything, people probably didn't see it, and I'll make a video next week, and maybe they will.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, nobody cares.
Mm.
Nobody cares enough to be like, "Julie, that was a little garbage." Whereas with this live show, actually in opposition to you, I do feel like, um, I'm very sensitive about people not enjoying it or not thinking I put the work in or something like that,
Mm.
because I am so invested in it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's totally fair. And I mean, how has it been touring and doing this sketch show now that you're a mom? You have a little toddler. How
I
has it
do.
been, like, I don't know if like your husband and your son are coming with you while you're touring, but like how has it been doing this live show? Whereas it's different when you're, I mean, filming typically, I believe like you and your husband are filming at your home. And so it's
Yes.
like son can be somewhat within arm's reach, although audio, I guess
Daycare
maybe. Yeah,
baby.
I was gonna be like,
He's
never
at
mind.
daycare.
We
Yeah.
can't have that noise. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just constantly quiet on set, yelling
Yeah.
constantly at him. But yeah, how has it been doing this live show? And yeah, maybe
It's been good. It's been rewarding, but it's been really hard.
mm-hmm.
I think being a working parent just generally is hard, and I didn't give it enough credit before I did it. I would recommend everybody who wants to be a parent follow through because like genuinely the best and greatest thing I've ever done with my whole life, and I can't put it into words that it's just the most rewarding. It makes everything make sense becoming a parent. That being said, being a parent and working is very, very challenging. And when I was creating the show, there was a lot of extra work and parenting weight put on my husband, um, which sucked for both of us because I felt very, very guilty and he felt very, very tired because his job is way harder. Like being the full-time parent is way harder than being the working parent. And then being on tour has been kind of like interesting. They came to Calgary and Vancouver with me. But it's wild because the parenting doesn't stop. And so like there was one night I had two shows. I had two shows the next day. We had kind of we'd sold out, and so we did two back-to-back shows. And so the night before I was like, okay, Sam, I need a really good night's sleep because this is gonna like kick me on my ass, these two shows. But like my son doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like he was like up in the middle of the night. He had like a runny nose and a cold, and we were up for like the parenting doesn't stop. So
yeah.
I've learned how to like conserve my energy. I've learned how to create boundaries with other work stuff so that I'm giving appropriate family time. And then I've also learned how to work very, very tired. And that's just the reality. And that has helped because I'm currently pregnant and I'm doing the show and we're doing all this extra work. And it's just, think back to when I didn't have kids and I like roll my eyes a little bit when I thought I was tired.
Yeah, you're like, you are not tired. Well, there's a sketch you did, that I like pinned immediately, like or like bookmarked immediately. It was a sketch where a woman, I'm telling mostly for the audience, but please tell me if I'm like butchering this.
Okay.
A woman from the future comes to present day Julie, who's hanging out watching Real Housewives, aka me, and is like, hey, to save the human species, you need to have children. Like, please have children. And current day Julie is like, I don't know. Like, I'm actually making some progress on my career that would really disrupt
It's
it.
not a
Also,
good
it's
time
like,
for me.
not a good time. Like, it's
Yeah.
super expensive. Also, like, studies show that you're healthier and happier without kids. And like, also people treat society doesn't often or can sometimes like treat people with kids or mothers specifically not great. So like what's in it for me? Not really sure. And I'm not a mother myself, and I'm not sure if I want to be a mother, but I do know that like I'm pulled in both directions.
Of
and
course.
Motherhood, part of it is motherhood really scares me.
Yeah.
And in that video, I was like, oh yeah, these are a lot of my fears. And I'm curious, like, I don't even know how to ask this, but now being a mother, how much of those hold up, I guess, or how much of those are you like, oh, silly pre-motherhood, Julie? You don't even worry about that anymore.
No, they're all valid. They're still valid.
Oh no, I'm just kidding.
I know. It's not great. It's not good news I have on the front, other than it's so worth it. It's worth every career sacrifice, every monetary sacrifice. Like I cannot emphasize that enough, that if there's any part of you that wants to become a mother or a parent in general, it will satisfy it above and beyond any fears that you might have. But those fears are very real. And actually becoming a mother now the second time, I'm all the more infuriated as to how we treat working parents. And I mean, I'm very thankful for the daycare costs. That's made it possible to work. I don't know if you know, we have this like $10 a day program that they're bringing in just federally. So that's actually made it such that we can have a second kid, because I always wanted to, but it was cost prohibitive, and now
Yeah.
it's not, because we can afford the
Mm.
daycare. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of other things. Like I took really, really big career hits. I mean, even now I'm basically like uncastable, um,
Mm.
because it's weird to
Oh, which
cast
is
a pregnant
so
woman, and
yeah,
yeah,
like what? Like because pregnant
yeah,
women are supposed to go be in a small closet for 9
yeah.
months and just like not exist for a while?
I know, and then there's postpartum, and that doesn't get any better.
Oh,
I know I have so
God.
much like disappointing stuff, except that I will say
Mhm.
this is a very small sliver of my life that is
Mhm.
difficult.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact it gets easier. And
Mm.
so I'm just trying to be present and enjoy my son being small, and
Mm.
enjoy this like next newborn phase. And I know it's going to be financially will take a hit, and I know my career will take a hit, but it's all temporary, you know?
Mm.
And
Mm.
I really, really don't want to look back at this time and be be regretful that I wasn't more present, that I
Mm.
was worrying about, oh, I want to book that Tim Hortons commercial, or oh, why didn't I book that role on Hudson and Rex? It all
Yeah.
seems so trivial, you know?
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's like in the moment it feels like everything, and then a
Mhm.
year from now or 2 years from now, you're like I mean, it's very on brand, past self. You're like, "Hey,
I
it was
know.
fine. It was a blip." I think one of my, like, true fears in it is
Mm.
that I will end up feeling I think this is more towards, like, the very, very young stages, like baby,
Yeah.
is I really worry about feeling quite isolated. Actually,
Yep.
nope, this is into, like, toddler, and this is even, like, when they're 5. But no, that I'm gonna feel really isolated and that I'll just be stuck in the isolation. Okay, well, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't just leave
Yeah.
the baby. Like, I have to, you know?
It's
So, yeah.
that's so valid. And that is so a reality for a lot of women. And I think a very frank conversation needs to be had between you and your partner if you're
Mhm.
parenting with someone. I have a friend who just had a child by herself,
Mm,
and she's an actor, and she's doing amazing.
mm,
But it needs to be a very frank conversation that it has to be 50-50 parenting.
mhm,
So that neither one of you are resentful towards each other or towards the child, because I
mm,
think that that's a real reality, is that you can
mm.
have a baby and be resentful towards the baby, and they don't deserve that. They didn't
No.
ask to be
No,
here.
they're
And
just like a
so
pile of cuteness. It's just like, "Hi,
yeah, but
you."
also they really fucking suck
Yeah.
sometimes, you know? So
Yeah. Yeah,
I
totally.
think like I really think a frank conversation with your partner, and then I think if you know that about yourself, which I'm
Mhm.
very much the same way, that I was like, I cannot sit still, and I refuse to just be someone's mom. Not that that's not a valid choice, but I don't want to lose my identity in being a mom.
Mm,
I knew that about myself going in and during the process of pregnancy, and so I did things like I did a little bit of work, and I kept a toe in the industry, and I went to
mhm,
events even though I was really pregnant, or even though I had a newborn at home, just enough to help me keep that sense of self,
mm,
because I learned really, really early on that if I was fulfilled somewhat career-wise, if I felt like I was still that like creative driven force, that
mhm.
I was a better mother.
Mm,
And
yeah,
that's still the case, and that's why, like, as much as I say, like, the live show on tour was very hard with a toddler, yes, of course, but I have to do that to be the best mom, because
yeah.
then I come home and I feel ready to play and
Mm,
cuddle and read books and all the things that my kids need,
mhm.
um, without being like, "You guys are holding me back." But that's my shit,
Yeah.
right? And that's another thing that goes into being a parent or being, like, in a relationship, is that we're responsible for ourselves and our own happiness and our own
Mm.
identity. You can't expect that somebody else to support you through that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. When you talk about frank conversations, I've had frank conversations with like my very, very close like people, like not
Mhm,
just partner, but like friends, being like,
mhm.
"Hi, so if we choose to have a child and we're able to have a child, like you're expected to come over, and I will not ask you because I'll be too tired, but like
Yes.
you need to check in on me like every 4 days. Like it will be on
I did
you,
the
and
same
that's
thing.
your responsibility, and
Yeah.
because I need I need the village. Like, I can't be alone in it. So, like, come over. I don't care if you bring food. I don't care if any of that. You just need to sit beside me, or you need to, like,
Yeah.
be in my kitchen. You can be watching a show while I'm doing something else, but I just need I can't lose my people, you know? And I think
I
that's, like,
love
a
that.
huge part of it. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and also something I've learned is
Mm,
that we are not alone in these fears. And
mm.
sorry, the spice again.
The
I'm like so
spice. I
burpy.
know. No, no.
We're not alone in these fears because
Mhm.
there are so many amazing like new mom programs that I have found that are all free in
Mm,
Toronto. And Toronto is just teeming with these women who are like just so incredible badasses who just had babies. And it's
mm.
like you can find your village, you can find your network, your people, um, for free who are going through the same thing, and it
Yeah.
exists here. I mean, I'm not sure about other cities, but here in Toronto, we have programs called like Early On, and when I think they're all through Ontario,
Mm.
but they're free, and you bring your kid and you just chat with other moms, and your kid
Mm.
plays, and yeah, I've met a lot of amazing like powerhouse women that way, which is really cool.
Ugh, I love that. I love that. Well, and I love that you, like, emphasize free because that is a huge part of it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm also self-employed, also actor. So, like, there is no mat leave. My partner is also self-employed. So, like, there
no,
is no pat leave. Like, there's no
no,
And I remember you had spoken about, like, in an interview talking about it was mostly about, like, you wanted to come up with a retirement plan for acting because there isn't one.
yeah.
There isn't a default one, I guess. But then you had also mentioned, like, mat leave. And so how did you go about trying to figure out, like, financially, and not asking, like, your financial situation, but
No,
just
no,
how did you
yeah.
go about, like, even trying to start planning for that or thinking about planning for that with working in an industry that's so, like, inconsistent and unpredictable?
Um, yeah, I was pretty strategic about it,
Mhm.
which I think you have to be, unfortunately. Like I have friends who are just like, "We'll get pregnant whenever we get pregnant," and that was just not a reality for me. Um, we had basically like a year's salary each of us that we had saved.
Yeah.
Um, to prep for. Now, I only took 3 months. So I should
I
say
was
I
gonna
had a
say, and
year's.
didn't you only take 3 months? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, and you only just yeah.
Yeah, so but we had done a lot of saving,
Mm,
prior. We had been very, yeah, restrictive on our spending because we knew we wanted to start trying for a baby. That was the other thing. That process took a long time to
the
from when we
saving or the trying to have a
for
baby?
trying to have a baby,
Trying to have a
which
baby.
is the
Ah,
other thing
yes.
I would emphasize, for just women even considering is that I yeah, was sorely, uninformed as to how
Mm,
long that process could be. We had a miscarriage the first time,
mm,
and then I needed some emotional recovery after that,
of
and then it
course.
took a while after that, and so, um, and all that time we were still saving. But basically, I had budgeted for whatever my mat leave was going to be. I had hoped I would have taken a bit longer, and I wasn't quite able to.
Mhm.
Um, so we had that, and then, yeah. There are ACTRA
Mm,
benefits, if a person is a part of the actors union, but they were really disappointing.
mm,
That was a very disappointing experience because I had a certain level at ACTRA where I had certain things covered,
mhm,
and then you go on mat leave or you get pregnant and you can't book roles.
mhm.
And then you're on mat leave and you can't really book roles. And then when I came back, um, I had lost all my status. So I had
No.
no coverage anymore coming back after mat leave, which
I
was
didn't
really
realize.
disappointing.
Yeah, I would have thought that, like, that situation would constitute, like, "Okay, great, we're dealing with this differently than if you just weren't
Should have been.
active." You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, that
should have
doesn't
been
make
put on pause, I
Yeah,
think. My
yeah.
Cuz my contributions were such that I had really great benefits so I could get like prenatal massages covered and dental and whatnot. And then because I couldn't work for basically a year, it really felt like I was being penalized
Yeah.
for deciding to have a child, but that's extra stuff. I'll
Uh,
let them figure that out.
yeah.
But yeah, the finances are tough. I will also say that the first like outside of your salary, the first year of having a baby is pretty cheap.
Yeah,
You don't
okay.
really need
Yeah.
much. They're great. It's really not until honestly, he's still really cheap. He doesn't eat very much. everything gets gifted.
Yeah.
Like, people are crazy about gifts.
That's the other thing I told my friends is like, we will be sending a newsletter via email and
Yeah.
we welcome all all hand-me-downs. Like, come
Yes.
on
Oh,
over.
yeah.
Yeah. I have
No.
my partner has a cousin who like their daughter they didn't buy any clothes for her for like the first 2 years of her life because they're
Mhm.
like, no, there's so many people who keep the clothes, which also I'm so sentimental. I'd probably keep all the clothes. And then eventually they're like, okay, my child is 14. I actually don't have any sentimentality attached to this onesie anymore.
Yeah.
Please, like use it for
Yeah.
your child that I also love. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they're very it's honestly not until they, like, start going to camps and stuff and, like, need soccer cleats and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Oh,
I wanna say for those first 5 years, it's, like, pretty smooth sailing other than if you don't have, maternity leave covered.
yeah.
Then that's, like,
Yeah.
a bit of a yucky hit. But
Yeah.
I've seen people do it with no
Mhm.
mat leave whatsoever, and they manage, and
Mhm.
honestly, short-term pain for long-term gain. It
Yeah.
really was, it's such a blip in your life.
Yeah. I really appreciated you like being now and also when I was reading or when I was listening to a podcast where you were talking about it. I just appreciated you being open about like the financial parts or even just
Mhm.
bringing it up of wanting I think you were talking about like speaking with a financial advisor about
Yeah.
retirement plan for like in the future because the craft of acting is talked about a ton. The industry is talked about a little bit less. And then the
Mhm.
financial business side, I think is like almost impossible to actually
Right.
hear real things about unless and the reality again is that like most actors in Canada also have other jobs. Like it's
Yes.
not and so anyway, so I just really appreciated that because it is often this like question mark of, well, I don't know how the hell to do that or how to navigate that and I just really appreciated you speaking about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I mean,
So,
yeah, I think financial literacy is if you're gonna be an independent contractor, that's on you to figure out.
mhm. Mhm.
I've had financial advice. I've known people in my life to give me financial advice, and I feel like I'm pretty coherent in that language, but it's taken a long time. And it was something I sought out myself. And I think if you're an independent contractor, it is your job to make a retirement plan. It's your job to figure out how you want to be as an investor. It's your job to figure out your savings. And it can be mild at the start. It can be meager. It can be, a few pennies. That might be all you have to start. But just that literacy, I think is really, really helpful for when something bigger does come along.
Mhm.
You know what
Mhm.
you want to do with that money. You know how to spend it so that you can save for that rainy day or you can save for those goals.
Mhm.
Um, which I mean might be buying a house. I don't know that anybody even has that goal anymore, but but it might be like I want to flesh out my RRSP or I want to
Mhm.
do some investing with my TFSA
Mhm.
and just making kind of strategic choices because nobody's going to do it for you and um just to go back to what we talked about kind of off the top, which was
Mhm.
um I'm freer as an artist, when I know that my, finances are taken care of, and they're not
Mhm.
taken care of because we're reeling in millions of dollars a year. They're taken care of because I've made strategic choices. I've made smart investing decisions over the course of my 10 years on YouTube
Mhm.
that have made it such that, yes, I can support my family, but also I can be creatively free and I'm not at the mercy of, um, the next Google check to
Mhm.
to to pay my mortgage payments or
Mhm.
whatever it might be.
Yeah, or the next movie or yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anywhere like if there's a person who's starting out in acting or starting out in any sort of gig work who wants to learn about these things and is like, I
Mhm.
would really like to be a little bit more financially literate. Is there anywhere to start that you would suggest? If it's like, this is a book, this is a podcast, seek out this type of person. Like, yeah, is there anything you would suggest to
I
start?
I think, 2 avenues. One is, like, um Uh, find good budgeting advice. I found
Mm,
most of it on TikTok actually, which I don't
mm,
know how good that advice is, but um, just finding appropriate budget advice for your life and your income. I
mm,
think that's a really great place to start. And then I think if you're an actor and you're part of the union, I think becoming familiar with AFBS and how it
mm,
works and how they invest money and how they pull money off your checks and just understanding that aspect. Um, is also, helpful.
mm.
Yeah, I don't have better advice than that. I did speak to some financial
Okay.
advisors at my bank, but it's just been cumulative, right? It's been years
Mhm. Mhm.
of talking to people and making plans, speaking with accountants and whatnot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Even if it's like, okay, get started and just know to dedicate a little bit of time to learning about that so that you feel like
Yeah,
in the driver's seat and you don't feel that scarcity or sort of desperation years from now kind of thing. That's
absolutely. I
great.
mean, a budget goes a long way, like a household
Mm.
budget.
Mm.
That goes a long way for peace of mind of just knowing what I can and can't afford and what are my goals going for. What's my goal in 5 years? Like, do I want to buy a car in
Yeah.
5 years? And if that's the case, how much do I have to save? And it's like boring work for a lot of people, but if you're realistic about those goals and you do want them, um, then you can take the stress away easily by
Mhm.
creating a budget and just following it.
Mhm. Oh, no. I love a spreadsheet. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Me
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. I love a freaking spreadsheet. Okay, so to close off, I just
Mhm.
wanted to a part of the mission of this podcast is to really like celebrate and highlight Canadian artists, Canadian media because I think there are Canadians out there who would really love to watch or listen to more Canadian content and they just don't
Mhm.
know where to find it. So, I would love to give you the opportunity to share a Canadian artist or a piece of Canadian media that you'd love to give a shout out to.
I have one, and I'm curious. I feel like you've probably already read it. It's a book.
Tell
Um,
me.
have you read Fight Night
No.
by Miriam Taves?
No.
Okay. Meta, you would love it. So it's the
Ooh.
same author as Women Talking.
Okay, yes, yes, yes.
Totally different vibe. Fight Night is a comedy. Um, it's about these three generations of women in Toronto, this grandma, this mom who's an actor, and her 8-year-old daughter. You read the whole book from the 8-year-old daughter's POV. It's so like I was crying laughing. It's so funny. And then it's just so heartfelt and it's like such a Toronto-centric story, but you don't have to be from Toronto. It just is like the specificity of them like being on the streetcar and the grandma like watching the raptors and
Oh,
um it's really beautiful and it's just so well written.
oh,
Like great summer read. If you want to pick up a book right now and just like yeah, you would devour it. I think you'd
oh,
love it.
I do want to pick up a book right now. Okay,
Mm,
fight night. Okay,
Fight Night.
100%. I'm going to go to my local Toronto Public Library, or I might even purchase the book, honestly. Support
It's
Miriam.
yeah, it's worth it, and it's worth I got recommended to it from another actor friend who
Mm.
let me borrow it, and then I, let somebody else
Uh,
borrow it. Um, but it's so good. It's so, so good. And like the like mom is an actor, so of course there's a part of me that's like, I know her pain. And she's
oh.
pregnant, and so I'm like, oh, I know her pain even
Oh my
more.
God, you almost need to like reread it this summer. Just like
I
a
do. I
full
do.
comeback. Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. Oh, amazing. Amazing.
But
Well,
it's
thank you.
it's
Yeah.
a very women heavy book, women heavy POV, but it's funny
Oh.
for everyone. Yeah.
I love also not shying away from it taking place in Toronto. You know, like you watch the
Yes.
shows and you're like, this is filmed in Toronto. Why are they making it seem like it's Boston or something? Like,
Yeah.
let's just embrace that it's in Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Julie. Again, we had never met before this, and I just appreciate the blind faith in me also of like jumping on and
This was
recording with me
awesome.
today. It was so fun. My first ever spicy marg. I love it. And now I'll be ordering it and I'll think of you every time I order it, which is
Oh,
so
good.
cute because we don't even know each other. And I'll be like,
I
oh,
love
this
that.
sweet human introduced me to this. So thank you so much. Everybody go check out Julie Nolke. I will make sure in the episode description that you have all the links to go find her so easily. And also that you have a link to go find Fight Night also if you want to go read the book.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.